Wow. Welcome to Targeted, the show for masculinity and success. And I'm your host, Atlas Altman, former military commander turned best-selling author, now bringing you a podcast that you can use. We're sharing stories from highly successful men so that you can figure it out for yourself. Welcome. This is Targeted.
I will answer to God one day of the things I've done when people do cross the line.
We all do.
But it's one of those things I will confidently stand in front of him and be like, I'm here to protect your people as best as I can. And that's part of being a father as well.
Yeah,
we're protectors. A lot of men will be like, oh yeah, I'm a protector. You can't protect. You're a couch slob.
Yeah.
You can't protect. If you could protect, then you can be a protector. But until you learn to do those things, you can't say that you're that just because you like the thought of it.
All right, let's go into that. As a father,
Yep.
I look at some of the dads of the kids, my friends, or their friends' dads, and I'm like, nope. Do you ever have that thought whenever you're around your friend? I don't want to go there because this is going to.
I know where you're going. Yes.
But I'll tell you, there's a lot of threats in the world,
right, and
I'm assessing the person that's going to take care of my child for a period of time.
Yep.
Do you feel like that's gone on a down decline? Because you mentioned a study in 2019 called "Masculinity: A Disease," and that's ridiculous.
Right.
But I see a decline in masculinity. I see a lot more. Maybe it is the diet. Maybe you're a whole on.
Right.
But are you seeing that, and is that contributing to you're basically your anti-world right now, trying to help people with the ability to defend themselves and their family?
Right.
How is that fueling you, or how does that work?
Yeah. So a real quick story before I give a big answer is we were at Great Wolf Lodge the other day, and this probably 2-3-year-old kid was sleeping on a chair. Mom completely left. I watched her walk in the building, kids sleeping there, and my wife's telling me, I know my kids are safe with my wife. I know my kids are safe with my mom. There's not many people beyond that I trust with my kids. Right. So what I think you were getting to is my kids aren't having sleepovers at anybody's houses. My kids aren't, I know 100% who they're with. But I saw that mom leave, and then Savannah, my wife, she's like, hey, come jump in or whatever. I'm like, I got to watch this kid. Yeah. She's like, that's not your responsibility. I'm like, it is my responsibility because I know. And that's where manhood has died, is they I'm all for protecting yours, but if you know what ought to be done and don't do it, you're useless. So everywhere I go, every kid I see, mine first, obviously, but my kids know that if I can't touch them, they're in a dangerous situation. Yeah. Screw you, P. Diddy. But going about that is, they're here. I know they're secure. Okay, I'm watching that one. Okay, I'm watching that one. There's somebody that's eyeing that one a little bit weird. I'm like, I'm ready. I'm aware of my surroundings. And that is something that a lot of people aren't willing to do. And we see that in social media world. When a fight goes on, what's the first thing that happens? There's never breaking it up. It's whip out those cameras and start videoing that.
Yeah, now it is.
That's a lack of manhood. There's no masculinity in that.
No.
That's, again, stories forever. But I just remember different times, a woman can't see things that way as well. Not because there's anything flawed with them. It's just because that's how God created them, to be nurturers, to take care. Yeah. Men are fighters, hunters, gatherers. And there's time I was in an airport in Fort Lauderdale, I think, and a huge fight broke out. And my mom's naturally hey, sit back. I'm dead sprint to go break that up while everybody else is recording it. Same thing happened after a basketball game. A knife got pulled, and thankfully I was there to pull the knife out of the person's hand.
Yeah.
But everybody wants the fame of, look at this video, more than creating peace. Yeah. And that's peace at all costs. But
did you ever work in security?
I did not. Yeah. I mean, I do security at our gun shows sometimes, but that's
okay,
that's a little bit different.
Yeah. I mean, security at your gun shows seems like it's, I don't know if you ever had anything happen at any of your gun shows?
Yes and no. The best thing that's ever happened was also the most disappointing in my hands. I will, and I believe any trained fighter, trained whatever, the best thing to always do is run. Yeah. Don't create confrontation.
I'm with that.
Do not at all. And that's what I know. I can seem as just a tough guy or whatever. At all costs, I will talk myself out of any fight.
Yeah. Herbal judo.
Yeah, I will. Yes, any way I can avoid it, I will. But if it gets to that point, let's go. We were at a show, and I was actually speaking to the missionary that I lived with in Haiti, and I only get to talk to him very so often because he's in Haiti. But I hear Savannah start yelling, like, I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And so I sprint up to the front of the show, and this is only on a setup day, so the show's not going on. But there's some old man out front that is not letting ammo in the door because he's like, I'm not letting these explosives in there. And he starts swinging on our vendors. Ooh. But as soon as I saw him swing, I was so let down because how, like, that punch was.
It was a bad
I was like,
punch.
oh, dude, I can't.
A disappointing punch.
I was so ready. Like,
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Right. I know. I'm like, I finally had my chance. Like, the vendors know that I train as well and stuff. They're always like, dude, I can't wait to see you in action. Like, but I thought I had my opportunity, especially that yell. You learn to know when your wife needs something. And but after I saw that punch, I was like, just go kind of like push him over, call the cops kind of thing. But outside of that, we get, people testosterone verbally back and forth. But one thing we have really done is make it a point to get the bad apples out of our show. So anytime somebody wants to start something or whatever, it's just an easy, like, hey, I don't think you're a good fit for us. Let's get out of here. So nothing crazy has happened. We're thankful for that. Obviously,
that's
our
good.
insurance is thankful for that. But that's about the craziest thing we've got so far, and it was just a massive letdown.
And in your case, it's like, show me your vendors, and I'll show you your future.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I love that.
And it's awesome too, knowing our vendors, like, people, we obviously at gun shows, if you're not familiar with them, you get your gun checked before you go in. So we don't want any loaded firearms in there. But people are always like, this is supposed to be a safe place. I'm like, I promise you, you're in the safest place you can be. Not all these, majority of these vendors are trained in one way or another.
Yeah.
Just because you got to put a zip tie through your firearm. Like, but yeah, the vendors, they're awesome. They said they're a family, and you're going to protect your family.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to go back to childhood again because we spun out of that. I had some more questions. But being a father today is different than being a father, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 60 years ago. And I see that mix of what you said. People pull out their phones instead of doing something. They're always wanting to record whatever it is. How do you talk to your kids about that?
Yep. So our kids will call us out real quick because they have a very strict no tablet policy unless if we have to take them to a gun show. Okay, you can watch a tablet then. If my daughters is doing jiu-jitsu, okay, you can watch our phones. But outside of that, just don't let it happen. So sometimes they'll be like, hey, can I watch TV? I'll be like, no. But you're playing on your phone. I'm like, be quiet, little kid. Like, who are you to tell me what I'm doing? But they're very aware of it. Okay. And that's one thing, kind of a segue that is going to meet back in this is when you start teaching your kid about gun safety, when do you teach them not to cross a street?
Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah. So it's the same thing with our phone stuff is we teach them to be aware of their surroundings. So if there's somebody that is telling you to, hey, girl, come over here, I got candy for you, like, show them your middle finger or something. Like, no, you're not going over there. And they know those things. So we've taught them that immediately. We've taught them how to be responsible around guns. Yeah. And I think that goes along with like the social media type stuff is they know like that's not expected. That is a reward. Mm-hmm. So be really good not to get that thing, but that's when you can get the freedom of that. And then going on the social media beyond that, I know a lot of people like, hey, let's block out my kids' faces. Let's do this, AI, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I get it. I understand it. But we live in a world that any picture, any information, like it's already out there.
It's already happening.
Yeah. So I would rather be on the other side of posting my kids and being like, hey, look at my girl choking this guy out at jiu-jitsu. Look at him shooting a gun. Like,
yeah. I mean, I see both sides of it.
Right.
But I'm on your side. I don't post pictures of any kids without permission, though. Right. So, like, if my kid's in jiu-jitsu, I'm not posting that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I do have them on our little family frame to remind them that they're still little badasses.
Right. Yes, they are.
And if they get in trouble, they can make a lot of noise. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about the example. Mm-hmm. There was a yell, and you went to it.
Yep.
Were your kids there? Did they see that?
They were not there.
But they know they can do that, and you'll be the same response.
And that's a good thing about like when you spend time with somebody, obviously your family or wife or whatever, like you know different voices, you know your kids, you know different cries. Yeah. Like if my little boy starts crying, I'm like, toughen up, you sissy. But when he's like crying, I'm like, are you okay, bud? Like, what happened? But it's the same way. It's with those kids, my kids.
Yeah.
I'm very hard on them, especially my oldest. And but she knows, like, no matter what, I remind her at the end of every single day, I love you more than anything in this world. I will do everything I can to protect you at all times. Just because I discipline you, just because I yell at you, which I try not to do, but just because I do those things doesn't mean I'm disappointed in you or anything. I just want to set you up in a way that I was never set up.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Do you feel more obligation because of your childhood to your kids?
I wouldn't say more obligation. What I feel is I learned everything not to do from my one side of my
That's fair.
parents.
Yeah, no, I fear that.
So I learned if I knew he was doing that growing up, I'm going to do the opposite. And so because of that, like I said, it led me through many different journeys and whatever. But I always want to be the father that I never had. And a lot of people, like, this is the most I've ever talked about any kind of parental situation in my life, because I don't know any different. A lot of people are like, oh, that must have been so hard doing this, doing that. I'm like, no, I didn't know any different. I just adapted.
It was your situation.
Yeah, but going on with that is my mom was a mom. Like, there's things she can't do. She can't talk to me about violence like I like. She can't talk to me about shooting guns. Like, she can do 99 things right, but there's still that 1% that I'm like, I need to find from a male figure.
Yeah.
And because I didn't have that, I kind of learned, and now I don't want my boy or my girls to ever have to be like, I didn't have this growing up. I want to be everything for them. And am I going to fail? Absolutely. I'm going to fail over and over. But the best part about failing is you can go to your kids and just be like, hey, I messed up. Forgive me. Let's move on from that and let's try again the next day. And so an obligation, I don't feel an obligation to be anything that I didn't have. I do feel an obligation to be a Christian father, and the Bible is a perfect blueprint of how to lead them well, so that when they're introduced to the everyday world, they know how to go about everyday life. They're not in a little Christian school bubble where they go out into the real world and hear a cuss word and like start freaking out. Like, they understand, like, yeah, people are going to do those things. Doesn't mean I have to.
Yeah, I see that in parenting a lot. There's a lot of people giving advice. A lot of people don't know, But one of the best things that you can do with your kids that I think you're doing and what you've explained is just communication. Like, they're going to watch you, and however you communicate is how they're going to communicate. But as a child, I didn't have that, and you didn't either, apparently. Right. So, like, you learn a lot from what you don't have, and that's why I like what you said. You got to have a good mix of trauma.
Yep.
So I get asked all the time, how did you do your career? Like, how did you, do all the things that you did in the military? And it was because I didn't have the things that these other spoiled kids did. Right. And I was trying to prove my worth in some cases. Have you ever felt like you were trying to prove yourself every day? Is that how you show up sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's just another masculine thing as well. It's like competitive. Like, I've been through a million jobs because it was always like, well, this one's offering $1 more. This one's offering and it was a constant like jumping up. And obviously there's different times where you just want to make money. So I did different avenues that way, but at the same time, I'm trying to buy stuff to prove to people that don't even care about me. Like, it's a battle, but absolutely, it's some days it's a struggle, but some days it's a good thing to give you that extra push. One thing I'm super thankful of, and it's a conversation I had with my wife the other day, is there's times like I'll get the need for speed and want to go buy a nice car, and thankfully we're in a place that we can do that. And all I want is to be able to like send a picture to my sperm donor and be like this, and he'd be like, I'm proud of you. But I've never got that. But thankfully I have a cousin that was a few years older than me that anytime I get something new or whatever, obviously like we don't do it for a pat on the back, but it's nice to have that every once in a while. Everybody, like, especially men are super lonely, and that's not talked about enough.
No, it's
not.
But
it's nice to have my cousin. I can send him a picture of a nice car that I'm only probably going to have for 3 months or whatever, but he'll just be like, heck yeah, dude, that's awesome. And I'm like, that's just enough to be like, cool.
Yeah.
And that's something I never really got. Obviously, I got it from my mom, who is my biggest supporter, biggest encourager, put every penny she had into me, whether it's basketball tournaments, anything else. But but I never had that other figure that's just like, that told me good job once.
Yeah, man. So I had this guy on the show. His name is George Hayworth, and he talked about the number one thing that's missing in men's life right now is brotherhood. He's like, it's just, we don't talk about it.
Right.
No one talks about it.
Right.
So, he does some things. But like for you growing up, you had to have a male figure that you looked up to. Who's the first person in your life that you're like, that's the dude I want to be like?
Yeah. My answer is going to be kind of weird.
Do it.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, of all people.
A person that I've never had a conversation with, obviously, but seeing what was known as Mamba mentality growing up, just like a fearlessness. I watched his every move. I watched his reaction, and I learned so much from him. And then beyond that, when you get to more of like a personal relationship, I had, he was a missionary in the Philippines, but he was one of my basketball coaches, Daniel Bucher. He's one of the, I'd probably say he's one of the earliest people that I like grabbed onto my sophomore year of high school. Still an amazing friend today. But he's one that I was like really grabbed onto, and I'm like, I need to learn from you. You're a solid man. You got a great family. Absolutely love him. And then the next one who I actually call him, I don't call it to him, but I always say that's my dad, is the missionary I lived with in Haiti, Malcolm Henderson. Okay. He just, again, not enough words to say about the man he is and what he's taught me, taking me under his wing, letting me live with him and his family while I was in Haiti. Like, it's that's who I really grew to. And I'm like, whatever you're doing as a father, I'm going to watch and I want to do as well. The same way, if my kids hear me yelling at them, they're going to be yelling at others. Yeah. It's the same way I watch Malcolm. If I see him doing something, I'm trying to do that as well. And thankfully, he's every night he's diving into the Bible, diving into studies. I'm like, yep, I want that. So it's he's one who's really taught me a lot about manhood and fatherhood.
I love that. No, biblical. Like I'm a big advocate for Ecclesiastes 3. I love that. There's a time for everything, right? Absolutely. That's my go-to verse, man. And in there's violence that no one talks about. The Bible being a
time
violent
for peace. There's a time for war.
Yeah, and so like there's a whole dialogue that comes out of that was in my culture for a while. Do you have any go-to Bible verses that you, as a man, would recommend to other men? Yeah.
One that has stuck with me, and it's kind of when I truly gave my life to Christ, it's the verse that kind of resonated with me, and it's James 4:14. Okay. That your life is nothing but a mist in the wind. It's here today and gone tomorrow. And there's so many illustrations you can do that what I do with my kids, like a spray bottle, just like, hey, girls, watch this. Psh, that's your life. And the reason I say that to apply to men is because whatever you're going through, just a speck in time. If you feel super lonely right now, there's no reason to call it quits, because it's just a hair in the wide variety of like what this world has to offer. So whatever you're going through, but also take that on the other end. If you're on top of the world, it can be gone tomorrow. I have to remind myself that all the time. Like, coming from nothing to what we have now, like, I can go back to nothing in no time and still have the same amount of peace because of Christ. And so it's got to be James 4:14 that I would recommend. It's just like, understand how precious life is, understand how short life is, and when you look at it through that perspective, you focus on things that matter. You focus on that time with your kids. You focus on raising them right, knowing that they're going to go out into the world one day. So no matter where you're at in life, whatever situation you're going through, it's only for a short period of time.
Man, I love that. Now, this is coming from a man who has had death threats. I mean,
here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Put on your seatbelts, guys.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those.
Yep.
Like the first time it happened, where were you? What were you thinking? Like, what was going on?
Yeah. So we have enough crazy stories to make a whole 5-season Netflix documentary. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in gun shows. And without, we've gotten too many lawsuit threats and blah, 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 slander, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I'm going to navigate around names and words as much as possible. But there has been a few groups of people that their identity is wanting to attack us, kill us, destroy our business, ruin our family. And when we were handed the gun shows, we moved out here. We were taken over promoting the gun shows right before that happened. What we see has happened, and the people that if they were the haters, they're probably going to watch this because they're fans.
Always.
And they're the kind of people that are perfect in their own eyes. So, Badgers, they won't ever call me Badger, but he's lying about this. This didn't happen this way. I don't know which camera to look at, but you're delusional. So that being said, we were handed the gun shows in hopes that they would blow up in our hands, not theirs. So they were handing them to us, hoping they would die. My wife is awesome. She flipped these things around. They are absolutely amazing. But with making those great, with making or seeing money come in from those, now they want to come back in and take back over. Obviously, we are part owners of the company. Like, can't happen. Like, we signed the contract. You told us not to because you know this day would come and you would want it back. But with that and not handing those over, that's when the threats start coming in. We've actually, since we've lived in Arizona, we've moved houses twice because of those threats. Savannah got a text message from someone talking about how we want her out. Put that together how you want. She's a dirty blah, 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 whatever. Like, she was supposed to send that to her husband, but accidentally sent it to Savannah. Next day, they felt so bad, so they brought coffee and put it on our doorstep. Like, yeah, you think we're going to drink that, you idiots? And then, like, they just play the poor me of, it was an accident, it was a heated moment, blah, blah, blah. But that same family, the coward that did all that, he constantly attacks Savannah through, so he actually used to work for us. We fired him because he's a dirtbag. Coming into that, he's then like, I tried to like, dude, whatever you want to do, let's hash this out. Let's talk, whatever. And that's when he's like, if you contact me or any of my family again, I'm going to sue you, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, dude, you're a coward that beats your wife. That's enough to say right there.
Yeah,
like,
that's enough.
But because of that, like, the threats always come in. But unfortunately, and I do feel bad, my wife is the end of every attack. So I'm a pot stirrer. I'm going to bring that, like, hey, bring it on. Like, I'm ready for this. I think you guys have probably put that together by now. But anytime they attack Savannah and I'm like, no, dude, I'm over here. Yeah. Let's handle this in any way you want. Again, I'm going to try to talk my way out of it because there's no reason for me to have a mugshot. But if it gets to that point, I'm okay with it. But every time I start getting in, there's like, oh no, this has nothing to do with you. I'm like, it has everything to do with me. I'm the one stirring the pot. Quit attacking her just because you know that she's a woman and she has woman tendencies and that'll upset her. And that's where I have to constantly bounce back and forth of, yeah, I like the stirring the pot a little bit, but I hate that she gets the attack of it. So
is that where the name Badger came from?
Absolutely not.
All right, tell us the story on Badger.
Yeah, so it's hilarious. That's what I'm referred to most of the time now as Badger, and every time still my wife's like, what? Yeah. But 29 years of my life. So my name is Ian, I-A-N. You see that on paper, Ian. So all through school, attendance, Ian, like first few periods, I would know it's Ian. At 6th, 7th period, I'm just like,
whatever.
Ian it is. Yeah. And then, so I've dealt with that forever. Then about a year and a half ago, I was on a radio show, and dude's like, Ian. I'm like, Ian. Yeah, Ian. And then Savannah's on the like live chat like Ian, like EYE/N, Ian. And he's like, oh, Ion. So he switched to that, and it was at that point I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going by this anymore. Yeah. So I've had the nickname Honey Badger for a little bit. That's from a sermon I actually preached.
Really?
So I preached a sermon called Holy Carelessness. Okay. So if you are pursuing what God wants, there is nothing in this world that matters. So that follows on with manhood. Like, we're so worried about what the world's going to think about us and what Bible verse they're going to pull out of context to criticize us. Like, no, holy carelessness. If I am pursuing what God wants, I do not care at all what this world thinks about me. And so somebody started talking to me after, like, carelessness, like honey badger's super careless, like honey badger. So it just all kind of formed together, and it got to the point of like, you know what, Badger, that's our mascot.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's our mascot. But I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna start going by that, and it's picked up. It's still every once in a while somebody will be like Badger. I'm like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
But it's picked on, and I think it's a lot easier to remember Badger like the animal rather than Ian.
I like it. Great story too. Okay, so Badger's not stirring the pot, but you were stirring the pot, and then some things got said, and you just don't know.
Right.
How does that look today? Do you still feel threatened?
So I mentioned it was a worker that worked for us in the past, and so we took over majority of their shows.
Yeah.
It's very rare, but typically when we have one of those shows coming up that something happened is when we'll get some kind. So we have a third business partner. He's the one who started this organization like either 7 or 15 years ago. I know it's a wide range. I forget which one it is.
Yeah.
But he's a third business partner, and there's no communication from our side to these people, but they still try to communicate to John. And every once in a while, like we have, say, a show coming up, they're just like, blah, blah, blah. And then, but now everybody knows it's kind of just like in one ear, out the other. Like you live off of drama. We're not going to feed into it. So 99% of the time, things are smooth, but we are always on guard. We've found private investigators following us. So thankfully where we live now, I know every car that goes up and down that road. And there's been a few that like parked diagonally, kind of just a perfect view of us. So we're always on edge about that. Could that be someone? Yeah. We've only seen it one day, so probably not. It's probably construction workers parking, but we are always on edge. But for the most part, we're just like, no, we live in a gated house. Like you cross those lines, might not cross them back, but that's where Savannah would be like, oh no, what if they know where we live? I'm like,
that's nuts.
Tell them to bring an army.
Have you has anyone ever broken into your house or anything like that?
No, as a kid, but that was just living in the country. Somebody needed Christmas presents kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Nothing to the point of what we've got going on now. And thankfully, like, it's cool too that if anything were to happen, like I've talked about the community of the gun shows.
Yeah.
Like you've got an army coming after you if you try anything, and that's not to sound tough. Like I know a lot of this stuff's coming off like this dude thinks he's something special. I'm like, dude, I am nothing, but I have a great army behind me. I have an amazing family. I have got nothing to lose.
No, it's fair. I mean, if you're prepared for whatever and it never happens, I'd rather be that dude than the person that shows up and it's like World War III's happening.
Right.
You know.
Right. And it's life of one of my favorite quotes. It's like, pray for peace, prepare for war.
Yeah.
Like, dude, there's nothing more that I want than like to be friends with everybody. Yeah. But on the other end of that, guess what? If you're friends with everybody, you're probably a coward.
Yeah. You're not taking a stance on anything.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's kind of where I'm at. Like, dude, I want peace with everybody. But some people aren't going to have peace with me just because I claim Jesus' name.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be something somebody's against.
Yeah.
So in those cases, like, prepare for war. I'm prepared for anything that may come. And if something takes me out, like,
let's go.
Yeah, and I'm more than okay with that. And I think the world would be such a better place if people threw hands more often. I think, like, if I want to run my mouth to you and I can beat you up, guess what? I'm gonna keep on talking. If you drop me, my mouth is shut. I'm shaking your hand.
Yeah.
But now it's, guess what? You beat me up, I come back with a gun. That's what the world looks like now, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is.
Men need to fight.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another awesome episode coming up next. We'll see you there. And subscribe to Targeted now. As an ambassador to buckedup.com, I get to give you our special discount. That's Atlas25 when you go to buckedup.com to get that special discount. Only for our listeners, Atlas25. Go to buckedup.com now.